Make thy gold multiply. That's what we're going to be talking about in this section of the book study we're doing, The Richest Man in Babylon. Now, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel because we are dropping this gold. Man, I got a lot of this content coming out. You don't want to miss it. I'm just saying, it's pretty good. It's going to help you. So we're going through the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. This is a teaching that needs to be in the body of Christ because it is showing you how to actually put your money to work for you. So in my journey, if you will, I've started several entrepreneurial ventures. I think it's a way more fun way to live. It provides me with the time freedom. It provides me with the financial freedom. But as I've progressed in this journey over the last 12-ish years, I keep finding that there are better ways to make money. We've read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Cash Flow Quadrant, and different books on investing. But for some reason, it wasn't until really about just into last year that I started to understand you can put your money to work for you and it earns you an income instead of you working for money. Now, I've been out of a day job for a long time, but I've had businesses that paid me, but this is the next level. So after being an entrepreneur and owning businesses, man, now you can graduate to the investor level. Now, this is what I thought. I thought it was like a process where you had to like graduate up, and mentally on the inside you do, but you can actually get started doing this immediately. You don't have to like come in with $1 million to start investing and putting it to work for you. There are new ways of making money and creative ways of making money by putting your money to work for you. I'll talk more about it later, but this is what we're doing inside of passive income engines. There are now investments available online I didn't know about till recently. Some of them in the crypto space, some of them are in the gold space, and a couple different things like this that earn you passive income. And it's enough. I mean, it's phenomenal. All right, I won't talk too much about it this moment, but here we are, and we are learning how to put our money to work for us. We are on the third cure for a lean purse, meaning a small bank account. The third cure for a small bank account is to make thy gold multiply. Now, it's been hard for me to just kind of give you guys a summary because this book is so good. I just kind of keep reading the book to you. You're going to want to see the other parts 1, 2, and 3-ish. I'm not sure where I am in the series on this topic, on this book study, because it's setting people free. I mean, this is phenomenal. This is one of those books I thought I had read. If you would have asked me, have you read The Richest Man in Babylon? I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure I have, because it's a book that has been talked about forever. It's written in 1926, and it outlines these principles, timeless principles. They line up with the word in the Bible. These are timeless principles for making money. And not only making money, but again, putting your money to work for you. It's a different mindset. It provides more freedom than ever. And I'm super excited about it if you can't tell. Pick up the book, subscribe to the YouTube channel, make sure you go back through this series, and let's start implementing. And again, for those who want to take action on this, I have the program, Passive Income Engines, in the links below that you can check out and see if that's something you want to get started in learning how to actually do this. You can get started with any budget. You don't need a big amount. You can work your way up, compound your way up to bigger numbers and amounts. We show you how to put your money to work for you. In fact, a lot of the projects and protocols we invest in pay us daily. Some pay us weekly, but they pay you out like a paycheck. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, that's all I'll say about that for now. The third cure is make thy gold multiply. And he recaps. He says, behold, your lean purse, your bank account, is fattening. You've disciplined yourself to keep 1/10 of all that you earn. You've controlled your expenditures to expand your growing treasure. Next, we will consider means to put thy treasure to labor and to increase. And this is the part that I needed to hear right here, the next line. Gold in a purse or money in your savings account is gratifying it's gratifying to have, and it satisfies a miserly soul, but it earns you nothing. You guys seen videos, and I've got in-depth trainings on this inside of Kingdom Money Mastery, but how to detach your emotion from your bank account. When we look at that number in the bank account and maybe it makes you sad, bummed, or discouraged, you've messed up. You've put your affections and attentions in the wrong thing. But also, if it makes you super happy and you got to go, man, you need a little boost in your life, so you go check your bank account and you see how much is in there and you're like, yeah. There's nothing wrong with being excited about having a large bank account. I recommend it. It's great. But it shouldn't be the controller of what makes us happy or not. That's where we've messed up. So, to me, this is what he was saying. Money in a bank account is gratifying to own and have, and it satisfies a miserly soul, but it earns you nothing. So for me, when I read that, I was like, I'm sitting on a good chunk of capital, and I'm keeping it in my bank account simply because it feels good to my soul, but it's earning me nothing. Let's get this out. Let's get this thing to work. I don't need to see a big amount in my bank account for me to be happy. I don't need it for me to feel secure because my security comes from God, right? These types of things we need to look at and be like, you know what? This money's going to make me money over here. Over here, all it does is kind of give me a false sense of security. Let's put it to work. So that helped me. Maybe it helps you. The gold we may retain from our earnings is but the start. The earnings it will make us shall build our fortunes. That's the lesson. So he goes on and he talks about how his first investment was a failure. He lost his first time around. And I've seen this over and over again. It's interesting. So in the story, quick recap if you haven't seen the other videos, is he makes his first investment. He gives money to a brickmaker to go off to Phoenicia where they have all these beautiful jewels and gems. He's going to buy the gems in Phoenicia, come back to Babylon and sell them at a profit. Well, the problem was the brickmaker didn't know what he's doing because he's a brickmaker. So he went and they basically scammed him, and he bought false jewels, okay? And when he brought them back, they were worth nothing, so his investment was lost. Now, even in our investment group, there's been a couple things that didn't go 100% perfect, and people just give up, and they're done, they're devastated. Well, the main character, Arcad, he's like, look, it was a bummer. But I started back over, and I just went back to work, and I kept saving up because I was going to invest. I'm saving up for investment. So it took him another year. That was a year's of wages that he'd saved that he lost in this bad investment. But he said, I've got a desire for wealth. I'm changing my family tree. All we've known is poverty and paycheck to paycheck. I'm going to change that for my family. So he saved up another year, and this investment worked. So listen to what he did. My first profitable investment was a loan that I made to a man named Agar, a shield maker. Once a year, he bought large shipments of bronze from across the seas to use in his trade. He lacked sufficient capital to pay the merchants, so he would borrow from those who had extra. He was an honorable man. In his borrowing, he would repay me, but also together with a liberal rental, which is a dividend, another word for dividend, with a liberal dividend as he sold his shields. Each time I loaned him back the dividends he'd paid to me. Therefore, did not just my capital increase, but its earnings likewise increased. Most gratifying was it to have these sums returned to my accounts. Basically what he's saying is, I installed compound interest. So every 4 months, the shield maker would pay him dividends. Now, here's what's cool. I've actually done a deal like this. It was before I read the book. But the book, what I like about it is it helps you see ways to put your money to work without necessarily saying, here's the stock you need to buy. You need to buy residential real estate. You need to buy commercial real estate. It's just giving you an overall principle, a strategy, so that now you are aware to these opportunities. So I'll give you an example. I recently had an opportunity to invest in a friend of mine's business. And in this business, it's a check cashing business. And the way it works is he needs to have a pretty good chunk of physical cash on hand. Somebody comes in and has a check for them to cash, like a paycheck. They don't have a bank account, so they go to him. Hey, I don't have a bank account. Can you cash this for me? And he keeps a fee. He gives them cash. He takes the check, deposits to his bank account, and he keeps a portion of it as his fee. All right. So if the check was $1,000, can you cash this for me? He would give them $980 cash, and he'd keep the $20 as a fee. So there's a percentage, and that's how he profits. They're happy because they don't have to go to bank account. They can get the money instantly. They're thrilled. So it's a great business. It helps them. It blesses them. They like this. Okay, it's cool. He's an honorable man. So what I did is he needed more capital of cash into his vault, so that, because what was happening is he'd had so many customers come in, he'd have to turn them away. He's like, sorry, I've already depleted my stash. Can you come back on Monday? And instead, they wouldn't come back on Monday. They would just go to another check cashing place. So in order for him to continue to grow his business, he just needed more cash in his vault. So he came to me. We've got a friendship, but also like a business consulting relationship. So he was asking me some advice. How would you structure this deal? So I told him how I would structure it, and I was able to invest a chunk of money, and then he pays me every month a dividend for him getting to use my money. So it's interesting that in the book they use the word rental. So it's kind of like he's paying me a rental fee or a subscription fee to have access to my money. I give him a big chunk, and then once a month, he sends me a percentage that we have set ahead of time. And my money is working for me. Now, there are other people who are taking that money that they would take as a paycheck from him, a dividend, and they're putting it back in, compounding interest. So it's very cool. And I want you to be aware of these opportunities around you so that you can see things like this. And he loaned money to a shield maker. Even the first investment could have been cool, where he sent money across seas. They were going to buy some jewels and come back and sell them here for a profit, and then split the profits 50-50. That could have been a cool investment if he would have trusted a jewel maker instead of a brick maker. That was the lesson, if you don't remember. So each time I loaned to him, that's where we talk about compound interest. And he says this: I tell you, my students, a man's wealth is not in the coins he carries in his purse. So it's not the amount of money you have in your bank account, but it's actually the income that you build. The golden stream that continually floweth into your accounts and keeps them bulging. That's what we're trying to do. You're trying to create income streams. It's not trying to just stack your bank account and make it fatter. Because if you have these income streams built in, as it goes on to say, you get paid whether you are home, whether you travel, whether you work, whether you don't. These income streams that you've built, in our course we call them increase avenues, that you put into place, they flow into your life. That's what we want. That's more important, bigger, and better than just having a fat bank account. Great income have I acquired, so great that they call me a very rich man. My loans to Agar were my first profitable investments. It's my first training into investing, he says. I gained wisdom from this experience. I extended my loans and my investments as my capital increased. And he says this: a few sources at first, so start small, and then many sources later. They all flowed into my purse, a golden stream of wealth, available for such wise uses as I should decide. Behold, from my humble earnings, I had begotten a horde of golden slaves. This was written in 1926. A horde of golden slaves, each laboring and earning more gold. As they labored for me, so their children, the dividends, also labored, and their children's children, until it was a great income from their combined efforts. Gold increaseth rapidly when making reasonable earnings, as thou wilt see from the following. He goes on and tells the story about a farmer, and he took 10 pieces of silver to a money lender and said, hey, he just had a son. When my son is 20, they agreed to terms. Hey, I'm going to keep this silver with you. And every 4 years, 1/4 of its value would be added. So that would be the interest. 25% interest every 4 years, you would add that on. And so he just let it compound until the kid was 20. But then the kid went up there and said, hey, I actually don't need it. Let's just keep it in there till I'm 50. And of course, it doubled over 17 times. while he was in there. Those 10 pieces turned into like 167 pieces. Thus, in 50 years, had the investment multiplied itself at a rental almost 17 times. This then is the third cure for a lean purse or a lean bank account. To put each coin to laboring, that it may reproduce its kind, even as the flocks of the field, and help bring to thee income, a stream of wealth that shall flow constantly into thy purse. So that's what I want you guys to think on. How can you put your money to work for you? Now, there are opportunities all around you. There's probably opportunities at your work. I remember I installed one of these. This was my idea that I had in a job I worked at about 15 years ago. So what I went to the boss, and I knew that they, the owners also invested in rental properties, real estate. So I proposed, what if we had a fund where I could invest into it, and you would pay me compound interest every month that I left the money in there, and that would help you guys have capital to go invest. So I literally took a portion of my paycheck and invested it in there. They thought it was a cool idea, and it ended up making me, I think it was, I want to say like $12,000 or something like that over just a few months' time. So I would, probably a year's time. So I would add money into it each month, but then I would also compound the interest in each month. So for instance, you can structure these things like, if I gave you $3,000, would you give me, whatever, do some math, figure it out, what works best for both of you, 5% interest per month. And if I don't want to take out my interest, could I just put it back in? And that way you guys would have bigger capital to go buy these houses with. Things like this. You can get creative. You can structure these things. You're in control. These are your ideas. Ask God for wisdom. Ask the Holy Spirit for help. Creative ideas for investing. And if you do this, a few sources at first, it's pretty cool. But then after a while, it gets really fun. I mean, imagine with a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, a little bit of effort, a little bit of strategy, a little bit of energy, you could come up with multiple ways to put your money to work for you where you've got 2, 3, 4 sources. They say the average millionaire has 7 sources of income. This is a great way to do it. This is a great way to get started. If this is intriguing to you and you want to see how we are doing it, again, I'll put a link below to the Passive Income Engines group. So we've got a little Facebook family, but we've got a course on how to get started, just showing you A to Z, everything you need to know. We've got a support team to help you if you get stuck on anything, all kinds of cool stuff in there, strategies, and just some amazing Christian people in there. But we are showing you guys how to put your money to work for you like it's talking about. Many of the investments we teach are in the crypto space, but it's a unique opportunity that not everybody knows about. So it's not something like, oh, you just buy Bitcoin and hope it goes up in value. No. There's different projects and protocols and strategies and different things that you can invest in, and they actually pay you a secure daily return. Again, some are weekly returns, some are monthly returns. Very interesting. I think it's worth checking out if you've never explored this before. We have people in the group who have replaced their incomes from their day job in just a matter of 60 to 90 days. We had one person retire his wife in 3 weeks. We got people in the group I saw the other day where they're making double their mortgage payments just from their earnings over here. I'm making more than 10 grand a month just from that. And actually, maybe by the time you see this video, it's going to be a whole lot more than that. So anyway, check it out. I can keep going on. We got one guy in the group who's making $2,000 per day, every single day, like clockwork, from just one of his investments. I could gush about it. It's changing life. So in an effort to not sell it too hard, I'm selling it because I'm sold on it. You need to go check out that link below. At least get started, watch the video, see if it's something you'd be interested in. Just check it out. So make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to continue this. The next lesson that we got coming up is the 4th cure and how to guard thy treasure from loss. That's going to be interesting. Let's check that out. So make sure you like and subscribe. You don't want to miss that. Share this with anybody you know who's kind of like, man, I'm not quite where I want to be financially. I know there's better ways to make money. Tired of trading my time for dollars. What can I do? Send them this link and man, share this with them. They might bless them. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.